First contact gone wrong, the Galactic Confederation exploration vessel Celestial Seeker drifted silently into the outer reaches of the Sol system, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to Earth's primitive detection systems. Captain Zix Tori, a six-limbed Arcturian with iridescent scales and compound eyes, gazed at the blue-green planet displayed on the main view screen. Remarkable, the captain said, the translator implant converting their clicking speech into standard galactic common. A Class M planet with such biodiversity and a dominant intelligent species that hasn't destroyed itself. Quite rare in this sector. Science Officer Velnera, a slender Pharrellian with translucent skin that revealed the flowing purple circulatory fluid beneath, consulted her data terminal. The dominant species calls themselves humans or mankind. They've achieved basic spaceflight but haven't ventured beyond their own satellite and neighboring planet. Technologically, they're at development stage 3.8, on the cusp of faster-than-light discovery. This was precisely why the Confederation had dispatched the Celestial Seeker. Any species approaching FTL capability required assessment before potential first contact. The galaxy had learned harsh lessons from premature introductions to developing civilizations. Their global communications network is primitive but extensive, communications specialist Quix added, his gelatinous form pulsing with blue light as he processed Earth's internet transmissions. They appear fragmented into nation-states, though there are overarching cooperative organizations. What about their biology? Captain Zix Tori asked. Compatible with Confederation standard? Chief Medical Officer Dr. Thazara, a feathered aviani with four wings folded neatly behind her back, touched her screen to project a holographic model of human anatomy. Bipedal mammals, carbon-based, oxygen-breathing. Standard protein structures. Their genetic code uses the same basic nucleotides we see throughout the galaxy, though with some unique sequencing. Nothing remarkable that would preclude standard contact protocols. If only Dr. Thazara had looked deeper. Prepare a contact team, Captain Zix Tori ordered. We'll observe their most advanced research facility first, assess their scientists. Less chance of panic among those already looking to the stars. The Antarctic Research Station Polaris represented humanity's most international scientific endeavor. 32 scientists from 18 nations worked in harmony, studying everything from climate science to astronomy. The isolation and shared purpose made it an ideal first contact site in the Confederation's assessment. The contact team materialized a kilometer from the station during a rare, clear Antarctic day. Captain Zix Tori led the four-member team, accompanied by Dr. Thazara, Science Officer Velnera, and Security Chief Korv, a massive Ursoid whose thick fur protected him from the Antarctic cold better than the environmental suits the others wore. Remember an unthreatening posture of slow movements, the captain reminded them. Their visual media suggests they expect aliens to be hostile. Their fiction does seem excessively concerned with invasion scenarios, Velnera agreed, having studied human entertainment broadcasts. Fascinating how they simultaneously fear and hope for extraterrestrial contact. The team approached the research station openly, making no attempt to hide. Soon, they spotted humans in bright cold-weather gear staring at them, pointing, some rushing back toward the main building. They've spotted us, Korv rumbled, his paw resting near his dissembler. Threat assessment is moderate. They appear unarmed but alarmed. Maintain course and friendly posture, Captain Zix Tori instructed. Inside the station, Dr. Alina Rodriguez, the station's director, could hardly believe the security feed. My God, she whispered, it's happening. Years of SETI research had prepared her intellectually but not emotionally for this moment. Should we alert the military? Her assistant asked, voice trembling. No, Alina decided firmly. We're scientists. Let's act like it. They came to us, not a military base. That's significant. She pulled on her parka. I'm going out to meet them. Anyone who wants to join me can. Everyone else, stay calm and monitor from inside. 5 minutes later, Alina stood 50 meters from the station, 3 colleagues beside her, watching the 4 alien beings approach. Their shapes were nothing like the stereotypical gray humanoids of popular culture. Each was distinctly different from the others, clearly representing different species. Their delegation, whispered Dr. Amit Patel, the astrophysicist. Not just one alien race. Alina took a deep breath and stepped forward, hands open at her sides. Welcome to Earth, she said, knowing they probably couldn't understand but feeling the need to speak anyway. Captain Zix Tori raised all 6 limbs in the universal gesture of peaceful intent. Then the translator device at their chest activated, having analyzed enough human speech from global broadcasts to attempt communication. Greetings, people of Earth. We come in peace as representatives of the Galactic Confederation. Alina gasped as the device produced accented but understandable English. First contact, and they already spoke English. The implications were staggering. They had been observing Earth long enough to learn their languages. I am Dr. Alina Rodriguez, director of this research station. We are scientists like yourselves, I presume. The translator processed her words, and the captain nodded, a gesture they had clearly studied. Yes, we are explorers and researchers. I am Captain Zix Tori of the exploration vessel Celestial Seeker. We have been observing your world and believe your species has reached a stage where limited contact is appropriate. The conversation progressed cautiously but productively. Elena invited the aliens inside the station's conference room, designed to accommodate visiting dignitaries. The human scientist's initial fear gave way to excitement and curiosity. The alien delegation explained basic concepts about the Galactic Confederation, a cooperative of over 300 spacefaring species that maintain peace and shared knowledge throughout the explored galaxy. Your species is on the verge of several major technological breakthroughs, Valnera explained. We typically make contact at this stage to offer guidance. Some discoveries can be destabilizing without proper preparation. Like faster-than-light travel? Dr. Pahil asked eagerly. Among others, the science officer confirmed. As the meeting continued, Dr. Thizera requested permission to scan the humans with non-invasive medical equipment, explaining it was standard protocol to ensure mutual biological safety. We have encountered situations where seemingly compatible species carried microorganisms harmful to each other, she explained. This is merely precautionary. Alina agreed, and the medical officer began scanning each human present. Everything proceeded smoothly until Dr. Marcus Chen, reaching for his tablet, accidentally knocked over his coffee cup. The hot liquid splashed onto the table, and as he lunged to prevent it from spilling further, his hand slid across the broken ceramic, slicing his palm. Sorry. Clumsy of me, he apologized, blood welling from the cut. The effect on the alien delegation was instantaneous and shocking. The moment Dr. Thizera caught sight of the red human blood, her scanner began emitting urgent warnings. When a drop splashed near Captain Zix Tori, alien leader recoiled with a shriek of pain that no translator was needed to interpret. Containment breach. Extreme corrosive detected. Dr. Thizera shouted, pulling the captain back as the droplet of human blood began to literally dissolve the material at the conference table where it had landed. Corv, the security chief, immediately moved between the humans and his team, drawing his disabler. Don't move. Biological contamination protocol alpha. What's happening? Elena asked, horrified, as Dr. Chen clutched his bleeding hand against his chest. Valnera, the science officer, stared at the humans with new eyes. Not of curiosity, but of fear. Your blood, it's highly corrosive to our biochemistry. It's like powerful acid. The humans watched in disbelief as Captain Zix Tori writhed in pain where a tiny droplet of blood had splashed against their exposed scales, creating a smoking, dissolving wound. Help them. Elena ordered her medical officer, but Dr. Thizera blocked the human doctor's approach. No, stay back. Your biochemistry is toxic to us. The alien medic quickly administered an emergency neutralizing agent to the captain's wound, stabilizing the reaction. The first official meeting between humanity and the Galactic Confederation had gone from historic diplomacy to potential biological disaster in seconds. Both sides retreated to opposite ends of the conference room, the aliens eyeing the humans with new wariness. How is this possible? Elena asked, ensuring Dr. Chen's wound was covered and contained. We're just normal humans. We're not toxic. Dr. Thizera, still attending to the captain, explained without looking up. Your blood contains iron, an element we identified in your biology but didn't recognize the significance. To most Confederation species, iron compounds and the concentrations present in your blood act as powerful corrosives. Your bodies literally circulate what would be considered a dangerous acid to nearly every spacefaring species we know. The implications struck Elena like a physical blow. Humans, normal, everyday humans, were naturally toxic to alien life. Their very blood was a biological weapon they carried without intent or awareness. But that's impossible, Dr. Patel protested. Iron is one of the most common elements in the universe. Common, yes, but rarely used in biological systems, Valnera explained, maintaining distance. Most advanced species use copper, cobalt, or vanadium-based oxygen transport. Iron-based blood is extremely rare in complex organisms and unheard of in sentient species. We even think to check specifically for blood chemistry compatibility. For the first time, Elena noticed the aliens' various blood colors visible through their translucent suits or skin. Blues, greens, purples. Not a drop of red among them. We should depart immediately, Cord insisted to his captain. This species is inherently dangerous to Confederation life. Captain Zix Tori, recovering from the painful experience, raised a limb. No. This changes our approach, but not our mission. The humans didn't attack us. This was an accident. They didn't even know their biology could harm us. Elena stepped forward, careful to keep her distance. Please, we can establish safety protocols. This doesn't have to end our first contact. The captain conferred briefly with their team before responding. We will return to our vessel to report this discovery and receive new instructions. This is unprecedented. In the meantime, we request that you inform only your most trusted global authorities. Mass panic would not serve either of our interests. Of course, Elena agreed, though her mind raced with the implications. How would humanity react to learning they were naturally toxic to alien life? Would it make them feared, respected, quarantined? As the alien delegation prepared to teleport back to their ship, Captain Zix Tori turned to Elena one last time. Perhaps it's no coincidence that your entertainment media so often depicts your species successfully defending against alien threats. On some level, perhaps you always knew you were formidable. With that, the aliens vanished, leaving the human scientists staring at each other in stunned silence. The conference table still bore the acid-like burn where a single drop of human blood had started to dissolve the surface. Dr. Chen looked down at his bandaged hand. So my blood is basically xenomorph acid to them. That's terrifying. And fascinating, Dr. Patil added, and possibly the only reason we're going to be taken seriously by a galactic civilization thousands of years more advanced than us. Alina looked at the spot where the aliens had stood moments before, her scientific mind already racing with implications and possibilities. They'll be back, she said with certainty, and we need to be ready. First contact had occurred, and humanity had unknowingly demonstrated they were not to be trifled with, simply by bleeding. Biological warfare without intent. News of humanity's toxic blood spread through the Galactic Confederation like wildfire. The Celestial Seeker had transmitted its findings to Confederation headquarters, and within days an emergency session of the Galactic Council convened to address what many species were already calling the Iron Blood Crisis. In the Grand Council chamber on the neutral world of Harmonium Prime, representatives of the 30 senior member species debated while thousands more participated virtually. Captain Zix Tori and Dr. Thizera presented their findings, including medical scans and footage of the accidental blood exposure. As you can see, Dr. Thizera explained, projecting a molecular model that filled the chamber. Human hemoglobin contains iron atoms at its core, which bind with oxygen for transport throughout their bodies. This iron-based system is incredibly efficient in their oxygen-rich atmosphere, but when exposed to most Confederation species biochemistry, it acts as a powerful oxidizing agent, essentially corroding tissues on contact. The council erupted in alarmed discussions. Grand Councilor Vex Morthan, an ancient crystalline entity and one of the Confederation's founding members, called for order with a resonating tone that quieted the chamber. In 15,000 cycles, we have encountered many biological incompatibilities, but never a sentient species whose very circulatory fluid poses such a universal threat to Confederation life, the crystalline being observed. What are your recommendations, Captain? Captain Zix Tori stepped forward. Despite this biological hazard, I must emphasize that the humans showed no hostility. The exposure was accidental, and they were as shocked as we were by the effect. Furthermore, they immediately expressed concern for our well-being and a desire to establish safety protocols. I believe diplomatic relations are still possible and desirable. Possible, perhaps, but desirable, questioned Councilor Draff, a methane-breathing entity whose environmental suit gave an bulbous appearance. Why risk contact with a species that can injure or kill most of us with a mere drop of their internal fluids? The simplest solution would be quarantine, restrict them to their solar system until they either evolve beyond this biological threat or develop sufficient technology to ensure no contamination is possible. That could take thousands of years, objected Councilor Elara, a felinoid whose species value freedom of exploration above all else, and they are nearly at the FTL threshold. Once they develop independent faster-than-light capability, quarantine becomes impossible to enforce. Security Director Mord Kesh, a heavily armored arthropoid, clicked his mandibles before speaking. There is another option. Preemptive containment. Not full extinction, but targeted strikes to destroy their advanced research facilities and space capabilities. Set them back several centuries. The suggestion sent ripples of both approval and horror through the assembly. We will not attack a developing species that has shown no aggression. Captain Zix Tori objected forcefully. It violates our most fundamental principles. So does allowing a biologically weaponized species to join interstellar society, Mordkesh countered. Grand Councilor Vex Morthan raised a crystalline appendage, silencing the debate. We will not make hasty decisions based on fear. A research directive is hereby issued with highest priority. We need to understand human biology completely and develop proper safety protocols before deciding their fate. Captain Zix Tori, your vessel will return to Earth as our official envoy with specialist reinforcements. Open diplomatic channels with their global authorities, but maintain strict biological containment protocols. The council voted overwhelmingly to approve this moderate approach, though a significant minority led by Security Director Mordkesh registered their objection. As the session disbanded, Mordkesh approached Dr. Thazara privately. "Your medical expertise would be valuable to a contingency planning committee I'm forming," the Security Director said quietly. "Should diplomacy fail, we must be prepared." The avionic doctor hesitated. "My oath is to preserve life, not plan for its elimination." "Considerate preservation of Confederation life," Mordkesh replied. "Sometimes the kindest cut is the quickest." On Earth, the situation was developing rapidly. Dr. Elena Rodriguez and her team had been transported to the United Nations headquarters in New York, where they briefed an emergency session of the Security Council on their first contact experience. They were peaceful, diplomatic, and seemed genuinely interested in establishing relations, Helena explained to the assembled world leaders. "The blood incident was purely accidental, but it changed everything. They're afraid of us, not because of our weapons or technology, but because our very biology is toxic to them." "Are you suggesting we have a built-in biological weapon against alien life?" the Russian representative asked. Elena shook her head. "Not a weapon. It's just our natural biochemistry. We evolved using iron-based blood because it's efficient in our environment. Apparently, most other intelligent species evolved using different elements for oxygen transport. Our blood is as toxic to them as, say, mercury might be to us." The Chinese representative leaned forward. "But it could be weaponized if necessary." "That's exactly the kind of thinking that could lead to an interstellar diplomatic disaster," the Secretary General interjected firmly. "Dr. Rodriguez has informed us that the aliens, the Confederation representatives, are returning to establish formal diplomatic relations. They chose to continue contact despite this biological incompatibility. We should demonstrate the same goodwill." While maintaining awareness of our unique advantage, the American representative added pragmatically, "If these aliens decided to become hostile, they'd have to consider that every human being essentially carries a biological deterrent in their veins." World governments scrambled to prepare for the return of the alien delegation. A dedicated First Contact Diplomatic Center was established in Geneva, Switzerland, neutral territory with appropriate facilities that could be rapidly modified for biological containment. Top scientists in biology, chemistry, medicine, and physics were assembled to form the Human Confederation Joint Research Initiative. Dr. Elena Rodriguez was appointed as the scientific liaison, while veteran diplomat Ambassador Richard Chen, no relation to the researcher from Antarctica, was selected as humanity's first interstellar ambassador. Both worked around the clock with their teams to prepare for the returning alien delegation. "The key will be demonstrating that we can overcome this biological incompatibility," Elena explained during a briefing. "We need to develop containment protocols, neutralizing agents, and protective measures that will allow safe interaction." 2 weeks after the initial contact, the Celestial Seeker returned to Earth orbit, now accompanied by 2 additional Confederation vessels. Instead of a small contact team, a full diplomatic delegation teleported to the Geneva facility, including Captain Zix Tori, Dr. Thazara, and several new specialists. The Earth delegation observed with fascination as the aliens appeared within a specially constructed containment field. The Confederation representatives now wore more substantial protective gear, complete with emergency sealing mechanisms visible at various points. "Welcome back to Earth," Ambassador Chen greeted them formally. "We are honored by your return and committed to establishing safe and productive relations between humanity and the Galactic Confederation." Captain Zix Tori stepped forward. "On behalf of the Confederation Council, I return your welcome. Despite the unexpected biological challenges, we see potential in Earth joining the interstellar community with appropriate precautions." The initial meetings progressed carefully but productively. The aliens shared limited information about Confederation history, structure, and technology, while the humans provided detailed biological and cultural data about Earth. Both sides were clearly feeling out the other, assessing intentions and trustworthiness. The breakthrough came 3 days into the diplomatic meeting when Dr. Elena Rodriguez presented a proposal to the Confederation science team. "We've been approaching this as a problem to solve rather than a situation to accept," she explained, displaying molecular models on the shared holographic system the aliens had provided. "Our blood will always contain iron. It's fundamental to our biology. What we can change is how our blood interacts with your tissues." Dr. Thazara tilted her feathered head. "You propose a neutralizing agent?" "Better," Elena continued. "A temporary molecular shielding technology. We developed a prototype based on your containment field technology that could be miniaturized and worn by humans. It creates a nanoscale barrier that prevents iron molecules from directly contacting alien tissue, even if blood exposure occurs." The alien scientists conferred rapidly in their own languages, for translators muted. Finally, Dr. Thazara responded, "Innovative. We had considered similar approaches, but from the opposite direction," protecting ourselves rather than containing your biology. A dual-system approach could provide redundant safety. For the first time, the tension in the diplomatic chamber noticeably relaxed. The humans had demonstrated they were not just a dangerous species, but problem solvers willing to take responsibility for their biological quirk. The next week saw rapid progress as human and alien scientists worked together to develop and test various safety protocols. The Confederation shared more advanced technology than initially planned, impressed by humanity's quick grasp of complex concepts and creative applications. Unknown to the Earth delegation, however, Security Director Mord Kesh had not remained idle. From his flagship in high orbit, he monitored the diplomatic proceedings with growing concern. "They're moving too quickly toward integration," he told his assembled officers. "These humans are not just biologically dangerous, they're adaptively dangerous. Look how rapidly they're absorbing and applying our technology." His second-in-command, a reptilian tactician named Sevrax, reviewed the intelligence reports. "The Confederation Council has explicitly ordered no hostile action. We are here as observers only." Mordkach clicked his mandibles in irritation. The Council is being short-sighted. These iron-blooded creatures could destabilize the entire galactic balance if integrated too quickly. Their biology makes them natural weapons, and their psychology makes them unpredictable. Did you review their historical archives? They spent most of their history fighting amongst themselves. "What are you suggesting, Director?" Stevrax asked cautiously. "Contingency implementation," Mordkesh replied. "If we wait for Council approval, it may come too late. We need a controlled demonstration of the threat humans pose, something to convince the Council that stronger measures are necessary." "You're talking about provoking an incident," Sevrax realized, mandibles twitching nervously. "I'm talking about revealing their true nature," Mordkesh corrected. "Have our operatives insert the stimulus package during the next diplomatic reception. When the humans show their aggressive tendencies, we'll be ready to implement emergency quarantine procedures." The breakthrough in safety protocols was celebrated with a formal reception at the Geneva facility. For the first time, human and alien representatives would share the same physical space without separation fields, relying on the newly developed protective measures. The human delegates wore slim bracelets containing the molecular shielding technology, while the Confederation representatives used an advanced version of their environmental suits with enhanced neutralizing capabilities. Both technologies have been extensively tested with synthetic human blood and tissue samples. Ambassador Chen raised a glass of champagne. The aliens raised containers of their own compatible refreshments. "To a new era of interspecies cooperation and friendship," he toasted. Captain Zix Torre performed the Arcturian gesture of accord. "To overcoming biological differences through intellectual similarities." The reception was proceeding smoothly when Dr. Thazera approached Alina privately. "I must speak with you," the alien physician said quietly. "Not here." Intrigued, Alina followed Dr. Thazera to his side room that had been established as a neutral medical facility. Once the door closed, the Aviani's demeanor changed dramatically. "Your species is in danger," she said without preamble. "Security Director Mordkesh believes humans pose an existential threat to the Confederation. He has been gathering support among conservative factions for extreme containment measures." Alina felt a chill. "What kind of measures?" "At minimum, permanent quarantine of your solar system. At worst," the alien didn't finish the sentence. "Why are you telling me this?" Alina asked. "Because I took an oath to preserve life, all life. And because in these weeks working with you, I've seen that humans, despite your dangerous biology, are not inherently threatening beings. You deserve the chance to join the galactic community." Before Elena could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. They rushed back to the main reception hall to find chaos erupting. Several Confederation delegates were writhing in apparent agony, their protective gear flashing warning signals. Captain Zix Torre was shouting orders while human security forces were moving to contain the situation. "What's happening?" Elena demanded. A human security officer reported tensely. "Someone attacked one of the alien delegates, Ambassador Quill from Betelgeuse. They're in critical condition." "Impossible," Elena protested. "Who ruled?" "It doesn't matter who," Dr. Thazera interrupted urgently. "This is the provocation Mordkesh needed. Look." Through the facility's windows, they could see unusual lights in the night sky. The Confederation ships were moving into attack formation. "He's going to implement emergency containment procedures," the alien physician explained grimly. A euphemism for orbital strikes on key human facilities. Ambassador Chen joined them, his face grave. "Captain Zix Torre is trying to countermand the orders, but Mordkesh outranks him in security matters. We have minutes at most." Alina looked from the chaos in the reception hall to the ominous lights in the sky, then to Dr. Thazera. "The safety protocols, could they be weaponized? Reversed?" The alien physician's eyes widened. "Theoretically, yes. The molecular shielding could be inverted to actively project iron compounds rather than contain them, But that would make your blood even more dangerous to us. Exactly, Elena said, her mind racing. Not as a widespread weapon, but as a targeted deterrent. Enough to demonstrate that attacking Earth would ensure mutual destruction. Dr. Thizera hesitated only briefly before nodding. I will help you, quickly. As Security Director Mord Kesh prepared to launch the first containment strike against Earth's major space facilities, he received an unexpected transmission. A joint broadcast from Captain Zix Tori and Ambassador Chen. Director Mord Kesh, the human ambassador, spoke calmly. We are aware of your planned attack. Before you proceed, you should know that we have modified our molecular shielding technology into what we call an iron blood deterrent system. A demonstration follows. The transmission showed a small amount of human blood being processed through a device, then aerosolized within a contained chamber. A synthetic alien tissue sample placed in the chamber immediately began to dissolve at an accelerated rate. This technology has been distributed to all major population centers. Ambassador Chen continued. Any orbital strike will trigger its immediate activation. Your attack would succeed, Director, but the cost would be devastating to your boarding parties and occupation forces. Captain Zix Tori stepped forward. The incident at the reception was staged by your operatives, Director. We have the evidence. Stand down your weapons or face charges of attempting unauthorized extinction of a pre-Confederation species, a capital offense. In Earth orbit, Mord Kesh clicked his mandibles in fury as his officers looked to him uncertainly. The humans had outmaneuvered him, turning their biological liability into a strategic asset in mere hours. Director, his second-in-command prompted, your orders? Mord Kesh knew when a tactical retreat was necessary. Stand down weapons, maintain position. That more quietly, these iron-blooded creatures are more dangerous than I imagined, and not because of their biology. Back in Geneva, humans and aliens alike breathed sighs of relief as the Confederation ships powered down their weapons systems. The crisis had been averted, but the diplomatic landscape had fundamentally changed. Humanity had proven they could not be intimidated or controlled, a message that would resonate throughout the Galactic Confederation. The iron blood deterrent system is a bluff, isn't it? Captain Zix Tori asked Alina privately after the situation stabilized. Alina smiled. The technology is real. We did modify the shields as described. But its distribution? Let's just say we haven't had time for mass production. The Arcturian captain made the gesture that humans had learned was laughter. You know, in all my years exploring the galaxy, I've never encountered a species that could turn their greatest liability into their strongest asset quite so quickly. Humans are going to change the Confederation, Dr. Rodriguez. I hope it's for the better, she replied. That said, Captain Zix Tori, will depend on choices made by both our peoples in the days to come. The unexpected advantage, 6 months after first contact, Earth had changed profoundly. The knowledge that humanity was not alone in the universe, and that they possessed a unique biological trait that made them both feared and respected, and transformed human society in ways few could have predicted. The United Nations had evolved into the Earth Confederation, a unified planetary government that maintained the sovereignty of nations while coordinating all extraterrestrial affairs. Confederation technology, carefully introduced to prevent economic disruption, had begun to solve humanity's most pressing problems: clean energy production, environmental restoration, and medical advancements that extended both lifespan and quality of life. In Geneva, the Interspecies Diplomatic Center had expanded into a sprawling complex where representatives from 28 Confederation species now maintained permanent embassies. Thanks to the molecular shielding technology jointly developed by human-alien scientists, biological incompatibilities were managed safely. Dr. Alina Rodriguez, now serving as Earth's science liaison to the Galactic Confederation, stood on the observation deck of the new orbital platform Unity, watching Earth rotate slowly below. Beside her, Captain Zix Tori, now Ambassador Zix Tori, observed the spectacle with equal appreciation. Your species has adapted remarkably quickly, the Arcturian noted. The Council predicted decades of integration. You've accomplished it in months. Alina smiled. When humans have a clear goal and the means to achieve it, we can be quite focused. Perhaps too focused for some, Ambassador Zix Tori replied. There are still factions within the Confederation who believe humanity is advancing too rapidly. Security Director Mord Kesh has been quieter since his failed containment attempt, but he continues to gather support. We're aware, Elena acknowledged, but we can't slow our progress to make others comfortable. The Confederation thrust us into galactic politics. We have to get up to speed quickly or risk becoming pawns. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent communication. Ambassador Richard Chen's hologram appeared before them, his expression grave. Elena, Ambassador, we've received disturbing intelligence. Multiple Confederation vessels have gone missing near the Antares Gateway, including a human observation ship. Ambassador Zix-Torre's compound eyes flickered with concern. The Antares sector should be secure. It's a major trade route. The Council is convening an emergency session, Shen continued. Our intelligence suggests this may be connected to the purists, the faction that opposes human integration. The purists had emerged as a radical splinter group within the Confederation, led covertly by Security Director Mord Kesh. They advocated for the purity of traditional Confederation species and considered humanity's iron-based biology an abomination that threatened the established galactic order. I'll return immediately, Ambassador Zix-Torre said. This is deeply concerning. Alina nodded. I'll join you. If human ships are involved, Earth must have representation. The Galactic Council chamber on Harmonium Prime hummed with tension as representatives from all member species gathered. Grand Councilor Vex Morthan presided. Their crystalline form refracting light in patterns that conveyed their concern. We have confirmed that 6 vessels have disappeared in the Antares sector within the past 14 standard cycles, the ancient being announced, including the human scientific vessel Curiosity and its Confederation escort. No distress signals were received. No debris has been located. Security Director Mord Kesh stepped forward, his armored exoskeleton gleaming under the chamber lights. The pattern of disappearances suggests coordinated attacks, not natural phenomena or technical failures. Do we have any evidence of who might be responsible? Ambassador Zix-Torre asked. Nothing conclusive, Mord Kesh replied, but the timing is suspicious. The disappearances began shortly after we shared advanced propulsion technology with the humans. Alina rose from her seat, recognizing the implication. If you're suggesting Earth is responsible, I merely note the correlation, Mord Kesh interrupted smoothly. Perhaps human biological uniqueness is not limited to their blood chemistry. Perhaps their psychology is equally corrosive to Confederation harmony. The chamber erupted in murmurs and clicks of various communication forms. Grand Councilor Vex Morthan resonated a tone for silence. Speculation without evidence helps no one, the crystalline being stated. We require facts. A joint investigation fleet will be dispatched to the Antares sector immediately. With respect, Mord Kesh countered, I recommend that human representatives be excluded from this investigation. If they are involved, their participation would compromise our findings. Ambassador Chen stepped forward. One of our vessels is missing. We have every right to participate in the investigation. The council chamber grew tense as species took sides in the debate. Alina noticed that while many of the longer-standing Confederation members supported Earth's inclusion, newer members seemed swayed by Mord Kesh's insinuations. Eventually, a compromise was reached. Earth would be allowed one observer vessel to accompany the investigation fleet, but would not participate directly in the search operations. As the council session concluded, Alina and Ambassador Chen met privately with Ambassador Zix-Torre and Dr. Thizera. This feels orchestrated, Alina said once they were alone. The disappearances, the timing, Mord Kesh's accusations. It's too convenient. Dr. Thizera nodded her feathered head. I agree. My contacts within the Security Directorate suggest Mord Kesh has been meeting secretly with representatives from isolationist factions. They fear humanity's rapid advancement. They fear what they can't control, Chen observed grimly. Ambassador Zix-Torre's compound eyes shifted, and what the humans had learned was an expression of deep thought. We should proceed with caution. If Mord Kesh is indeed orchestrating these events, he will have contingencies in place. Then we need our own contingencies, Elena replied, the scientist in her already formulating hypotheses and solutions. The investigation fleet departed for the Antares sector 3 days later. The human observer vessel Prometheus, commanded by Admiral Helena Ortiz, maintained position at the rear of the formation. Aboard were Elena and a team of Earth's best scientists and tactical advisors. We're being deliberately kept out of the primary search pattern, Admiral Ortiz noted as she studied the fleet deployment. They positioned us where we can observe but not discover anything first. Elena nodded. Expected, but frustrating. We need to find the missing ships, especially the Curiosity. 20 of our best scientists were aboard, including Dr. Punnell from the First Contact team. The Prometheus was Earth's newest vessel, constructed with a blend of human innovation and Confederation technology. While officially classified as an observer ship, it contains several systems that had not been fully disclosed to the Confederation, including enhanced sensor arrays that exceeded standard Confederation capabilities. Ma'am, the sensor officer called out, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures at the edge of the Antares gateway. They don't match known Confederation profiles. Admiral Ortiz frowned. Why hasn't the main fleet detected this? They're focused on the primary search grid, the officer explained. This signature is outside their current scan pattern. Elena studied the readings. These look like dampened warp signatures, like someone trying to hide their propulsion footprint. After brief deliberation, Admiral Ortiz made her decision. We're technically supposed to stay with the fleet, but our mandate is to find the missing ships. Helm, set course for those energy signatures. Maintain communication blackout until we determine what we're dealing with. The Prometheus broke formation quietly, using the Antares Gateway's natural radiation to mask its departure from the main fleet. As they approached the energy signatures, Elena worked with the science team to enhance their sensor resolution. There, she said finally, pointing to the holographic display. That's definitely artificial. Some kind of cloaking field, but it's fluctuating. Can we penetrate it? Admiral Ortiz asked. Not without getting closer and using active sensors, which would reveal our position. The Admiral considered her options. Hold position just outside detection range. Passive sensors only. For nearly 6 hours, they observed the anomaly, gathering data and forming theories. Finally, there was a significant energy fluctuation and a momentary gap appeared in the cloaking field. I got a partial scan, the sensor officer exclaimed. There's a space station in there and multiple ships, including, ma'am, one of them matches the Curiosity's configuration. Alina leaned forward intently. Any life signs? Inconclusive at this range, but the ships appear intact. Admiral Ortiz's expression hardened. So the missing vessels weren't destroyed, they were captured. The question is by whom? Their answer came sooner than expected. 3 warships suddenly decloaked near the Prometheus, their weapons systems powering up. Evasive maneuvers. Admiral Ortiz ordered defensive systems online. As the Prometheus banked hard to avoid the first salvo, Alina studied the attacking ships with shock. Those are Confederation vessels, Security Directorate design. They're hailing us, the communications officer reported. The main view screen activated to reveal Security Director Mordkesh himself. Human vessel Prometheus, you have violated Council orders by separating from the investigation fleet. Power down your systems immediately. Admiral Ortiz stood tall. Director Mordkesh, we've located what appears to be a hidden facility containing the missing ships. Perhaps you can explain why Confederation security vessels are firing on an Allied observer ship. The arthropoid's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. You've discovered our containment facility ahead of schedule. Unfortunate, but not entirely unexpected. Humans do have a troublesome habit of exceeding containment parameters. Alina stepped forward. Containment facility? Those are civilian research vessels you've captured? Preventative sequestration, Mordkesh corrected. We've proven what we suspected. Humanity is advancing too rapidly with access to Confederation technology. The Council refused to acknowledge the threat, so we created evidence they couldn't ignore. By making ships disappear and blaming humans, Admiral Ortiz concluded. A regrettable but necessary deception, the Security Director acknowledged. Once we present evidence that humans were indeed responsible, evidence currently being manufactured within our facility, the Council will have no choice but to implement full quarantine protocols for Earth. The pieces fell into place for Alina. This had never been about missing ships. It was about creating a pretext to isolate humanity before they could fully integrate into the Confederation. You won't succeed, Alina said confidently. We've been transmitting this entire conversation back to Earth and the investigation fleet. Mordkesh's compound eyes narrowed. Impossible. We're jamming all long-range communications. Not all frequencies, Alina smiled. You're familiar with our iron-based blood director, but not with all our innovations. We've developed quantum entanglement communication based on iron isotope alignment, completely undetectable by your systems because you never thought to look for it. For the first time, the security director appeared uncertain. You're bluffing. The main fleet is already changing course, Admiral Ortiz reported, checking her tactical display. Led by Ambassador Zix Corey's command ship, Mordkesh's mandibles clicked rapidly in agitation. This changes nothing. My supporters within the Council will ensure humanity remains contained. Your biological threat is too significant to ignore. Our biology may be incompatible with yours, Director, Elena replied, but it's our adaptability that truly frightens you, isn't it? The fact that we don't fit neatly into your categories of control. The standoff was interrupted by the arrival of the main investigation fleet. Ambassador Zix Torres' voice came through on all channels. Security Director Mordkesh, by authority of the Galactic Council, you are relieved of duty and charged with interference in Confederation human relations, illegal detention of civilian vessels, and attempted provocation of interspecies conflict. Mordkesh's forces were outgunned and surrounded. After a tense moment, they powered down their weapons systems and surrendered. The aftermath of what became known as the Antares incident transformed humanity's place in the galactic community. Mordkesh and his co-conspirators were removed from power. The kidnapped scientists and crew members, including Dr. Patel, were rescued unharmed, having been kept in stasis aboard the hidden facility. 3 months later, in a ceremony broadcast throughout Earth and the Confederation, Grand Counselor Vex Morthan formally announced the Council's decision regarding humanity's status. The recent attempt to falsely implicate humanity in actions against the Confederation has been thoroughly investigated and debunked, the crystalline being proclaimed. In light of humanity's measured response to this provocation, their commitment to interspecies cooperation, and their unique contributions to Confederation knowledge, Earth is hereby granted full membership in the Galactic Confederation, with all associated rights and responsibilities. After the ceremony, Elena found herself on the observation deck of the Unity Station once again, this time joined by Dr. Patel, Ambassador Chen, and their Confederation allies. It's ironic, Dr. Patel mused, that our greatest biological liability, our iron blood that's toxic to most Confederation species, ended up being one of our greatest diplomatic assets. How so? Dr. Thizera inquired. It forced everyone to acknowledge our differences immediately, Patel explained. No illusions about perfect compatibility. We had to develop protocols, safeguards, and mutual respect from day one. Ambassador Zix Tori made the Arcturian gesture of agreement. Indeed, many species joined the Confederation seeming perfectly compatible, only to discover fundamental incompatibilities in philosophy or bulls centuries later. With humans, the challenge was obvious and addressed immediately. Plus, Alina added with a smile, it's hard to dismiss a species as primitive when they can accidentally melt your exoskeleton with a paper cut. Even Dr. Thizera joined in the resulting laughter. Ambassador Chen raised his glass in a toast to biological diversity and the wisdom to see differences as opportunities rather than threats. As they celebrated this new chapter in human history, Alina gazed out at the stars now open to human exploration. Their iron blood had initially marked them as dangerous outsiders, but humanity's true strength had proven to be something far more powerful. Their adaptability, creativity, and determination to find common ground despite seemingly insurmountable biological differences. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not by conquering or dominating, but by turning a liability into an asset, by solving problems rather than creating them. Their blood might be toxic to alien life, but their ideas, their innovation, and their perspective would ultimately enrich the galactic community in ways no one could yet imagine. The iron in their blood had opened the door to the stars. The iron in their will would ensure they remained there.